will start very shortly. Please, if you don't mind, take your seat. We're going to start very soon, please. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, mesdames et messieurs from the jury of the 71st Cannes Film Festival. I will start by introducing you, and we're going to start by, of course, Wales, and the one who had 7 movies in Cannes, including the beautiful Carol, and she was unforgettable in so many more, Madame la Présidente, Cate Blanchett. And now, at the extreme left over there, she was born in Burundi, but her music, her music is all over the world. Please welcome, for the first time at the festival, Khadja Nin. He had 8 movies at the festival, and one of them is probably one of the best ever selected in Cannes. That was in 1997, a Wong Kar-wai movie, Happy Together. Please welcome Chen. She had 5 movies at Cannes, 2 directed by Olivier Assayas, 1 by Woody Allen, and 1 by Walter Salles, and 1 directed by herself. Please welcome Kristen Stewart. He won the Prix Un Certain Regard in 1997 for Marius and Jeannette. He came back 6 times in Cannes, and he told me yesterday that because of this prize, he made 13 more movies. Monsieur Robert Guédiguian. He had 4 films in Cannes, including 1 in competition, Sicario, it was in 2015, Monsieur Denis Villeneuve. It's her first time in Cannes, but her movies Selma and 13th and recently A Wrinkle in Time are still in our head. Madame Ava DuVernay. I think I'm not wrong when I say that last year he shocked each and every one of us by one shot of a kid in a bathroom. Monsieur Andrey Zvyagintsev. She had 7 movies in Cannes. She won in 2009 the Prix Chopard of the first female newcomer, and of course in 2013 the Palme d'Or with La Vie d'Adèle, Blue is the warmest color. Mademoiselle Léa Seydoux. So, mesdames et messieurs, I'm going to start with asking a question for every one of you. Madame Blanchett, if you don't mind starting to answer. The question is very simple and kind of complicated too. What is a good Palme d'Or?
What is a good Palme d'Or? Well, I mean, there's many, many different awards in this extraordinary cornucopia of a festival. I think it's going to be a film. The Palme d'Or, by its very definition, is an award that's given to a film that contains everything. So you're awarding the performances, the direction, the cinematography, the script, the extraordinary crew that have made the film possible. The whole entire mise en scène. So it's something that I think will also hopefully last within not only the jury's mind and imagination, but the imagination of an audience beyond the time of the festival.
Khadja?
Moi, je suis vraiment très honorée, très heureuse d'être là. C'était une grande surprise pour moi, mais je m'amuse à dire que serait le cinéma sans la musique? Ce serait un petit peu difficile. En tous les cas, je suis très heureuse. Notre jury est magnifique, notre présidente est tout aussi magnifique. Et puis, ce qui me plaît le plus dans ce jury, c'est que c'est un jury engagé. C'est un jury de résistants. Chacun dans sa partie, chacun dans son domaine. Nous tirons dans la même direction. Donc je pense que ça ne va pas être très compliqué pour nous de nous entendre cette palme d'or qui est quelque chose d'extraordinaire. Moi, je prends ça très au sérieux, parce qu'on sait ce que représente la palme d'or pour un film. Mais je suis très, très bien entourée par des...
Of course, now I'm very pleased to say that I'm surrounded by such experienced people.
最重要应该就是最感动的一部戏，但我相信每部戏都有它感动的地方。但一个真正的金棕榈奖应该有它具有代表的意义，就是在现在这个年度最具有创造力，或者是最具有话题性。然后，当然它最具备的就是要让观众可以有感动。
Kristen? Translation, sorry.
What's that?
Can you hold just for a minute for the translation? Thank you so much.
Yes, yes. It's very important that a jury is able to understand what everyone says as a basis of communication. So let's start today.
That could be good, yeah. All right.
Oh.
Did we get the translation?
Oh,
Again?
I mean,
You sure?
no, you don't have to. You have one more in you.
OK, take two 。就是我觉得，当然每部片子被选进来做竞赛片都有它感动的地方。那最重要金棕榈奖，对我来讲就是它要
for me, most
必定
important,
要
the
感动人。
film, the ones that are, all the ones that are selected must have very good qualities, and the Palme d'Or films.
然后我觉得最重要的就是金棕榈奖代表的，其实它要有这个现在这一年度最具有创造力，跟它有话题性。
The Palme d'Or film must be the most creative and of the representative of the year, and moving for the audience.
All right, Kristen.
Yeah, I mean, I think on a base level, there are imperfect films that are still great. You know, you can kind of pluck little clams out of this like larger sea, and maybe you don't like the whole ocean. But I think for a Palme d'Or, you know, you should be fundamentally, sort of undeniably moved. And yes, the topical nature of films and festivals, it's important, but it's kind of, I think, more important to know that in 10 years' time, forever, however long, that it'll stand. And you know, I think it's pretty obvious when you watch a movie like that. I don't know how obvious it'll be for us to like agree on that necessarily, but yeah, just
We're going to
something
fight
that'll
like
last.
cats and dogs.
Yeah, watch out.
Robert?
Oui, en fait,
In fact,
je crois que
I think
l'idéal serait de
that
trouver
the ideal
un
thing
film qui
would be
soit
to
sur
find a
cet
film
équilibre fragile
that
entre
strikes this
émotion et
tricky balance between emotions and intelligence. A film that addresses both the mind and the heart through laughter, tears, but also through words, intelligence, and asking questions that people wonder about. I'd like to quote Mao Zedong. I love this quote. Mao Zedong said, art must walk one step in front of the people, but only one step.
Denis, vous avez une citation de Mao?
Denis, you have a quote from Mao? I've forgotten it.
Je dirais que
I would like to say
un exercice, c'est une gymnastique assez particulière.
it's a special form of gymnastics to see and choose a film.
Par notre intuition, on doit sentir que
Through our intuition, we have to understand that the film will cross the ages. It will go down in history. We want to choose a film at present which will go down in history, and that's quite a complicated exercise.
Well, for me, it's a film that is of its time, but also timeless, something that we can watch it in 20 years and feel like it still stands on its own. I think the films that I love the most are the films that have an emotional muscularity to it, so much so that whether or not I'm of that place or of that world, no matter where the characters exist, that I can connect to it in an emotional way because some emotions, many of our emotions, are universal. And so within that idea of universality, there's a specificity that I love. I believe there are riches in the niches. There's something gorgeous about going to a very particular place and time and being able to illuminate all that we are in terms of our humanity. So hopefully we'll find something like that. Looking forward to seeing what's there.
Zvyagintsev.
«Золотая пальма» вот уже 70 лет, это приз Каннского фестиваля.
Ça fait déjà 70 ans, effectivement, que la
For
Palme
the
d'Or
last
est le prix
70 years, the Palme d'Or has been the leading prize awarded by Cannes.
Шутка не прошла.
Visiblement, j'ai essayé de plaisanter, mais ça suffisait pas.
I was trying to crack a joke, but obviously it didn't work.
Я уверен, что это всегда совокупность частных мнений, поскольку у нас 9 человек. Я думаю, что споры будут, наверное, жаркими, потому что у каждого свое собственное представление о совершенном, о совершенной вещи, что ли. Я думаю, я буду смотреть фильмы, что называется, сердцем, и смотреть, выискивать то событие в искусстве. Именно это для меня будет важно. Я думаю, мы договоримся.
En fait, vous savez, c'est un ensemble.
In fact, you know, we're 9 people. We may have 9 differing views, yet we'll have to find something that groups us together. It has to strike me in my heart. It has to be a film that is a real work of art.
Alors pour reprendre ce que
Just to take up what Andrey said, yes, indeed, I believe it will be the film that manages to create a new language.
C'est vrai que
it's true
le cinéma est un langage
the
universel.
cinema is a universal language.
J'ai hâte de découvrir voilà, tous ces films.
I'm in a hurry to discover all these films and these directors from around the world. The emotion, however, the emotion will carry the day.
Question dans la salle?
Are there any questions in the room?
Hello, Jason Gorber from Canada. Congratulations to you all. Such an incredible, diverse set of voices speaking the international language of cinema. I'm wondering, Ms. Blanchett, if you could talk about the challenge of ensuring that films here will be championed from this diverse group, that we can ensure that we are going to get a Palme d'Or that best reflects everyone's point of view. And I'm just wondering if you could talk about specifically the challenges of championing film while still recognizing that other films may equally be worthy, making sure that you get the one that you love, but also the one that you feel will be lasting.
Well, as a creative person, you have to accept that the task is impossible. And you know, but without having had a single conversation about any of the films yet, because we haven't seen them, we will disappoint and confound. But the fascinating and wonderful thing about Cannes is that you have a set of people, practitioners, artists, in the jury, then you have the critics' response, and then you have the punters, you have the audience. And each of those groups of people might find something different. So even though the Palme d'Or might go to something and the critics might think differently, that's wonderful. And the great thing about this platform that is Cannes, this cultural, international sort of melting pot, is that every single film is worthwhile seeing. I mean, Terry and the team see over 1,600 different films. I mean, I can't even imagine absorbing that many films within a 12-month period, but they do. And often I think what happens is that the filmmakers who are chosen are guilty as charged. So, you know, it's wonderful as an artist to go in an open-hearted way to try and attend to what the filmmakers are saying. And often from afar, you know, if I haven't been at the festival that year, I'm not just interested in the film that has won a prize, but it might often be the one that I've heard about through word of mouth. So there's many, many ways in which these films can... it's a very porous festival. And so I think that, you know, of course there's the pointy end with the awards. But, you know, as an artist myself, I'm not that actually focused on awards. I'm much more process-driven. And what drew me to... it's sort of like, well, why did I become the president of the jury if I'm not interested in awards? But in the end, it's being in dialogue, not only with these extraordinary artists who are in the jury, but also being in dialogue with the diverse array of artists who are represented in competition and outside.
Over there? Please stand up.
It's Rodrigo Fonseca from Brazil, TV Globo. It's a question for Mrs. Cate Blanchett and for whoever else want to answer. We have a bunch of great new directors coming, but we have a mythical figure, Jean-Luc Godard. What's the challenge of judging a man like Godard, an artist like Godard?
Well, yes. Well, it's a level playing field, isn't it? So if you remove everybody's names, it's very, very hard when someone has been so profoundly influential on international cinema not to bring their body of work into your experience of what they're, the films they're making. And he continues to experiment. And so who knows what this particular experiment, will be. And I'm sure his body of work will withstand with or without a Palme d'Or. But, it's very hard to sit in judgment of another artist. And so that is going to be the most challenging and painful moment for all of us. I can't honestly respond to that because I'm going into this process with as I think we all are, with a genuinely open mind. And so we're trying to remove names and pasts and just deal with the present.
Anyone else about Godard? Over there, please. Please stand up.
Hello, Robin Pomeroy from Reuters. Am I right in thinking this is the first time in Cannes history that this is a female majority jury?
No.
Okay.
Does anyone else want to take this question? It's, it was one of the first questions I said to Terry. I said, we really do have to have gender parity and racial diversity on the. I don't choose the jury, but on the jury. And he said, but we do. And he said, in Terry's time, there have always been, if there's a female head of jury, then there are 4 men and 4 women. So it just happens that I've tipped the balance. Sorry.
Could you say how, though the Me Too movement, all the things that have happened since last October, has that changed the film industry and has that changed in some way Cannes this year?
Anyone?
If I may,
gentlemen.
No. But it's a wave. It's a movement that I'm always depressed by how we judge time like economists, like a 3-month period. Trimestrial way of judging time. The Me Too movement is something that, from my humble point of view, is a larger movement that it will take a long time to raise, d'atteindre l'égalité. Je vais aller en français. Pourquoi je parle en anglais? Ça va prendre un temps.
It's going to take time before we achieve equality, but it will happen. This movement will reflect what happens in Cannes this year, next year, and no doubt in the future as well.
And further to that, I think that for quality change to occur, for profound, lasting change to occur, it needs to take place through specific actions, not through generalizations and not through pontification. And it's addressing the gender gap, and it's addressing the racial diversity and the equality and the way we make the work. And of course, that's going on in our industry, and I hope in many industries, because the creative industries are no different from any other industry around the world in terms of those problems that they face. But is it going to have a direct impact upon the films in competition this year? 6-9 months on, not specifically. There are several women in competition, but they're not there because of their gender. They're there because of the quality of their work, and we'll be assessing them as filmmakers, as we should be.
Madame, on the third row.
Sabine Schulz from German television. So Thierry Frémaux said not only that the festival would change after the Weinstein scandal, he also said that the women's role at the festival must be reconsidered. So this is a festival with a red carpet, and we see pretty women, and we have a pretty old-fashioned picture of women from all those pictures. Question for Cate Blanchett, how do you see the impact on all this on women's position at the festival?
Being attractive doesn't preclude being intelligent. I think that this is, by its very nature, a glamorous, fantastic, spectacular festival, full of joie de vivre, you know, full of great good humor, full of discord and disharmony. Making art, making work is not always going to be harmonious. And when, you know, we're not always going to be in concord and agreement. The world would be terribly boring if it was. But, you know, I think that those aspects of the festival are things to be enjoyed, but, you know, in an equal, fair, and equitable way.
Right over there.
Good afternoon. Eugene Hernandez from Lincoln Center in New York, writing for Film Comment. A more general question to, and maybe to anyone on the panel, but maybe specifically to some of the filmmakers. There's so much talk at the start of this festival about the state of cinema. So I wonder who might comment on this question of why are movies still important? Why do movies matter today?
So actresses, don't answer that because you have no idea how to answer that question.
Go for it.
No.
I talked already. But I think that, unfortunately, humanity repeats its own mistakes, and storytellers, since the beginning of time, are there to try to reflect on what's happening. And I think that's why we repeat all the time the same stories, and we will explore cinema as the most powerful tool to tell stories. It's more relevant than ever, specifically at a time where in media truth is in a kind of danger. I think that cinema has a role to play to bring truth in the screen. I mean, it's like something that is fundamental, and I think that cinema is more important than ever. Does it make sense what I said?
Yeah, I mean, you hold up a mirror in front of everyone. It's so important to consistently self-assess and also explore and also be shown things that you're not currently living with, things that are not even remotely in your realm. So it's like two sides of a really beautiful coin. Is like always have introspection and self-reflection, and additionally open your eyes to things that are nothing like yourself, and like that's the only way to grow. And I think movies have always been, I mean, one of, it's my, obviously like my favorite form of that. Yeah.
I feel that cinema is voice, and it's the way that I, from where I'm from, Compton, California, was able to understand, you know, the humanity of a family in Iran or in Shanghai. There was nothing outside of my window to orient me to my place in the world. It was film that did that. It was film that allows me to assert my voice in the world. So it's so important that these festivals, and that's why I feel Cannes is so important, it brings us together from all parts of the world, wherever we are, to a gathering place to assert our voice and to actually speak to each other through cinema. So it's so important that we are inclusive, I feel, of the different ways in which we participate in film. So whether that's in a theater or not, it's still film. And I think that this is a question that the industry, artists and executives alike are grappling with right now, is what is a film? But film is a story told by a filmmaker, and the way in which that film is presented to the audience, I don't think has bearing on whether or not it is a film. But I look forward to having those debates with my fellow jury members, probably like the one sitting next to me, and others. I think it's just such a time of great flexibility in terms of the ways in which film is presented, and so it really is deserving of flexibility of our thought and our assessment of what is film.
Yep. Question over there.
Hello, good afternoon. This is Laura Sanchez from W Radio Colombia. My question is for Ms. Blanchett. As a here.
Where's here?
Oh, sorry.
Hi.
As a passionate feminist and also this year president of the jury, what do you think about the fact that there is only 3 female directors in competition? There's so few females in order to win the Palme d'Or. Thank you.
Well, a few years ago, there were only 2. And I know the selection committee now has more women on board than in previous years, which will obviously change the lens through which the films are chosen. But these things are not going to happen, overnight. And it is, as we said, it's a very exposing, almost a gladiatorial sport coming to Cannes as a director. And you want to know that the filmmaker is ready to have their work displayed. Would I like to see more women in competition? Absolutely. Well, do I expect and hope that that's going to happen in the future? I hope so. But we're dealing with what we have this year, and our role is to, in this next, almost 2 weeks, is to deal with what is in front of it. And as I said before, I'm not looking at the films. We're not looking at the films as an Iranian filmmaker or a Chilean or a Korean or a female or a transgender. We don't have any transgender directors this year. Oh my God, we failed already. But it's, do you know what I mean? Like we're dealing with what we have in front of us. And, our job as industry members away from the festival is to keep working towards positive change. But, we're dealing with the films that we have in competition right now.
Right in the center.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Jane from M-Time China, and I've got a question for Mr. Zhang. I was wondering, what's your take or comments on the Asian films this year, or generally Asian films at Cannes? 想请问您一下，您对今年的亚洲电影在戛纳的呈现有怎样的看法？谢谢。
没有，我觉得就是还是保持一个平常心。我觉得电影当然是它有分地区性跟各个文化不同层面，会给大家的观感会不太一样。今年有4部亚洲电影，然后，但是作为一个评审，我觉得还是以一个平常心来看待，先没有太针对它是亚洲电影而把它当成一回事。当然，我可能在这个评审团里面，可能可以起到一些作用。那因为亚洲文化，我觉得对西方人讲可能并不是那么了解，尤其是亚洲电影讲到很多都是跟家庭或个人感情有关系。那东方文化，我相信就是比较特别、比较压抑，然后情感比较。跟西方人比较不一样的表现方式，那可能在评审团这个之中可以做到一些化学作用。如果你们有不懂的地方，可以来问我。
I come with an open mind to see there are 4 films here from different regions, different countries in Asia. I hope that being a jury member, I would help to educate other people on we have different values, different family systems. I hope that being a jury member, I'm able to convey, but I will come with an open mind to see the films.
We have a question right here.
Hi, my name is Catherine. I come from Montreal, Canada. The festival has announced a red carpet 100% female on Saturday. I would like to know if the 5 of you, the 5 female, which part of the jury will be present on this red carpet?
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much.
Je pourrais ajouter quelque chose.
Could I add something? On the 16th, because
des problèmes que les femmes
we've been
rencontrent.
talking about the problems encountered by women in many areas, but here we're dealing specifically with the cinema, harassment, etc. I don't want to repeat all these things, which are so very sad. I would like to point out, however, that there are women actresses, black French actresses, who wrote a book, a manifesto, setting out what they experience, racism in the cinema. In other words, they are told, this part, a lawyer, isn't for you. You're intelligent. It's a pity you're not white. They hear all sorts of horrible things. Just read the book. And I'd like to say that they will be here on the 16th as well, walking the carpet, the red carpet has opened up so that they can express themselves as well. In addition to stigmatization and harassment, there's racism to boot. Hence, they have even fewer parts, or they play the part of an aged mum, or the kind of parts that are given to black people in general. It's important. It's a long path to change things, but we hope that you will convey all this information. Things must and will change.
Saturday, 100 women on the red carpet, and the 16th, the writers of Noir n'est pas un métier, c'est ça?
Le 16, elles sont 16.
Yes, there are 16. There are 16 French actresses who will talk about their story, their experiences, their life in the cinema. And the title is very beautiful. They say, what's the title exactly?
Noir n'est pas mon métier.
Black is not my job. That's the title of the book. And it's quite extraordinary.
nous serons là pour les soutenir.
And we'll be
We have
there
time
to
for one more
support them.
question. Mademoiselle.
Thank you. I'm a journalist from Georgia, and first of all, I want to say very many thanks about your project manifesto. It's one of the best projects I've ever seen in my life, and thanks a lot. About my question, we have a lot of movies about east part of our world, from Egypt, from Lebanon by Nadia Labaki, from about Kurdistan also, to see real situation there, yes? And also we have the movie by the Russian director who was under, Serebrennikov, under home arrest under Russian regime. And my question is about, would you take into consideration these political backgrounds of these movies when you will start judge and discuss about movies, or only artistic and visual line will be more important to judge? Thanks a lot.
I think this is not, it's not a political film festival, and I think the making of the work is probably not inherently political, but the way that it's going to be digested and disseminated post the festival may well have political implications for people and open their eyes and minds and hearts to situations that are going on around the world. It's sort of what Eva was saying about forming bridges of empathy between family situations or love relationships or trials and tribulations of people that you can relate to, even if you live in Compton or you grew up in East Ivanhoe in Australia, as I did. But it's, as I said, it's not. This is not the Nobel Peace Prize. It is the Palme d'Or. So it's a slightly different function. But yes, it's a terrible situation that the two of the filmmakers will more than likely not be here with us to have when their films are being screened. It's a very, very terrible situation.
Madame la Présidente, Mesdames et Messieurs, members of the jury, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.